Welcome, everybody, back to My Hero Analysis Beyond the MHA Rewatch Show. I am Tom DeGrazia, and I'm joined by, as always, by Steph Bear. Steph, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying a new setup, so we'll see how this works.
I feel like I can see you more now. Like you're brighter, you're ready to go, crystal clear, crisp. We're ready to get into like some drama.
Yes.
Some high drama moments. This week was it's an interesting week of episodes because as one of, I think the third episode is titled The Beginning of the End of the Beginning, because it really is like a tonal shift kind of for the entire series. It kind of like ushers in the All Might-less era of My Hero.
Yeah.
But we get a good 3 episode stint kind of leading into it. And I say, we got a lot to talk about, so why don't we just dive right in. So kind of kick off with the ending of the last episode.
I think this is just the summary of what was going on up to the point where we were at. So this is All Might coming in to save the day, and we just go into them getting into there, and then all of a sudden everything warping away and getting taken just by surprise, because All for One is kind of a badass in this for a little bit.
I want to know, because so all the black goo comes out of their mouths, like comes from inside them somehow. So with the characters that are wearing full masks and stuff, how is it coming out? Like, does it come out of their ears or something like that? Like what, like, yeah, I just want to know more.
Whatever it is, they're very uncomfortable through this entire process, as you find out later.
It's very true. Oh yeah. That's really gross.
Kamui Woods in this is like the funniest thing ever too. He just like freaks out that he's like thinking he's hurting the heroes, and he's like I'm sorry, or he's just like the side character when he was so the upfront hero in the beginning of this first season and everything. It's kind of funny to watch him.
Well, because he's next to the like number one. I forget which number the guy who turns it 2-dimensional and becomes like a string is. I think he's a number 5 hero.
Yeah.
The number 2 heroes outside, the number 4 heroes in another area. So it's like he is on the same stage now with all the top people in his industry. So any like little slight mistake, he's just like, oh God, sorry. And it's not his fault that like they were able to teleport out of his grand capturing that he had. So Aaron says that he has been watching the whole series this past week. He's on episode 88. That's amazing. That's awesome. I love being able to just tear through an entire show like that. I'm doing that with another show right now, but My Hero is a perfect one to kind of just go like from start to finish on like that.
Yeah. It's hard to stop sometimes.
It is. Yeah, it is. I was watching it today with my friend Jazer, and we were like, afterwards, he's like, oh, are we going to watch any more? And he's like, because I'd be okay with that. We can keep watching it. I'm like, no, just those 3 in the end.
Yeah.
So
I think this is just Endeavor outside trying to figure out. They're all trying to figure out where the Nomus are coming from at this point in time. They don't know if they came from the Genus area, but they know something's going on.
Yes. Yeah. And they all just kind of popped up. They're inside the bar. They're on the outside. And it's kind of coming from everywhere. And it really takes the heroes off guard because they thought they had the upper hand here. Like they had both areas scouted. They had the villains captured. They took out the warp guy. They're like, that's it. We got this. But nope.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I like that All Might stands up there and he's like looking out to make sure that Endeavor has everything under control. And then basically Endeavor calls him old. It's just like, do you need glasses? I'm here. I'm fine. Go do your thing.
In typical Endeavor, he's an asshole fashion. Yeah. So far.
Yes.
Symbol of peace.
That part doesn't change.
What? Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. And then I think we get back to the kids at this point where All for One has showed himself, and he has like the same pressure that All Might has for intensity and being awesome. He has for like death and overpowering.
He's like letting off like an evil aura that pretty much stops all the kids in their tracks. Like he's so sinister that I think they know that if they were to make a sound or trip over something or make one small mistake, they would meet a terrible end right here. Oh yeah.
And then Bakugo shows up, and then they're all like, "Oh no!"
That classic voice. I think he instantly shows up and starts complaining about stuff, right?
Yeah, he's like hacking and all pissed off. Yeah. And this is all them showing up, and they're all kind of nauseous because they basically just got vomited out of a warp hole that they're not usually normal or even like wanted to do.
Vomited out of whatever spatial they say somewhere where it's like displaces space or something like that. And then all for one will go into how this power differs from Kurogiri's power. But yeah, it's gross because it comes from within them, and yet it obviously must taste disgusting too, or make their stomachs go all bizarre.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Deku basically like inside. He hears Bakugo. He's trapped. He can't move. He feels like kind of tormented inside, and his body is like won't let him go, but his mind is telling him like this is exactly what you were trying to fight against. This whole idea that he's right in front of you. You can save him. You just got to move. You just got to act. However, his body not acting is in his own best interest at this point in time, and luckily he's not alone right now, so other people can tell him exactly that.
And I think the next one is Ida's reaction to them trying to leave without having a plan or know what's going on too.
Yeah, business bartender Ida.
It's like it's funny because he can't move either, but he has enough of movement that he can stop them, which shows the strength of his own character. And
I think in that split moment, because we see Deku's feet start to move, and I think like he notices that out of the corner of his eye, and for an instant he's able to forget the scenario playing out behind the brick wall behind them, and instantly focus on the whole purpose of why he is there, which is just to stop his friends from getting involved and getting destroyed pretty much.
And then you have All Might just flying in there as like some of the greatest like images for these next few episodes too. Just the fighting between these two is like that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, I also love the fact that All for One knew All Might was coming before anybody could see him or anything like that. He's like, I think he says something like, there you are, or something. And I think someone reacts to that thinking, oh, it's the kids. The kids think that he recognizes that their presence, that they're there.
Yeah.
But no, he's actually noticing All Might coming from like a long distance away, even though All for One does not have eyes or a nose or ears. I don't know.
Doesn't he have what's his mouth quirk now?
Who?
Doesn't she have like a scan or something?
He has a search. That's true. He could be using the search quirk. Yeah. As we learned last episode, I believe that he took that.
This was just cool.
Yeah. I was going to make that the episode art for this week, but I decided the more classic All Might just fist up in the air at the end of this was like, it had to be the one. But this was like a close second or third. I'll say the other one when it comes up.
There's a lot of images that I was like, I don't know which one you're going to use. So
there was a lot of good ones. I just felt like the most impactful moment for I think everybody watching was that moment where he holds the fist up in the air, and even when Gran Torino says like, oh, just leave him alone, he's working kind of deal. Like I don't know, I felt like that was that impactful like sea change moment. Like I did it, that's it, I'm out. And here we go, everything is unknown
except for his blood type.
Like Mariana says, I was thinking Darth Vader, the mask. Yeah, I get a Darth Vader-y vibe off of him as well.
Yeah.
But different because he, steals everybody's power. It's a whole different world. Oh, went the wrong way.
Yeah, because he's trying to tell him that All Might seems weaker because it took him longer to get there. He's like timed it out how many seconds it would have took him otherwise.
Yep.
And he's like making fun of him for having his mask on. He's like, what do you have going on either?
I think, they both acknowledge the fact that since the last throwdown where All for One says that All Might killed him and also says, he put a hole in his stomach. They both changed a lot since that moment. I also like that he goes into his actual power set that he's using, the kind of boosters times 4, strength enhancer times 3. He must have a quirk that allows him to stack multiple quirks like that, like multiply the effect of them. Which is
it was neat just to hear how he like thinks about things too. He's very like strategic in the way that things are built. So
it's true.
Like even like the compress guys making fun of All for One. Like they all have.
They don't know who he is. They never seen him or heard of him. They didn't know that Tamora had a boss, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that though, that he just throws down like pipe mask, because they're like, this random guy that seems kind of strong. Whatever, we'll take advantage of it.
Yeah. Because they're just like working for Tamura basically.
Yep.
This was awesome too, because Bakugo basically holds him off for a little bit of time by himself without his costume. So
yeah,
he's just out there in pants and a shirt.
When I know we'll get to it, but when he like takes off in that moment, that he just like propels himself, and he's kind of like standing upright the whole way, but he's like just flying through the air. Like it was.
Yeah.
You forget sometimes how powerful these kids are without their modified costumes to make them more useful, whatever. But yeah, he's strong enough to hold off all of these guys, but probably not forever. And they acknowledge that too. They're like, he's not gonna be able to get out of there on his own, especially with this one random guy that seems to go toe to toe with All Might being there. So
I think later on they also mentioned, because they all realize that All Might can't even do anything because he doesn't want to hurt anybody else around. What's going on too. And now they're stuck kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do. How can they help? They're not allowed to fight. They're not allowed to move. And it's super scary. So it's just a lot. Yep. And he's trying to, this is Deku going into crazy mode too. Like they had a lot of like action of him thinking and like different scenarios and arrows and stuff of different pathways that his mind could go. And it's interesting that he even knows the positions of everybody around.
Yeah. He only like saw that playing field for like a second, really. He kind of like looked over, and things changed wildly, especially as Bakugo's like currently blowing up the ground that they're all walking along. So it's constantly shifting and changing, and he comes up with a crazy plan and some smart aspects of the plan, such as Kirishima's role.
Yeah, which is he's remembering at this point in time, where he realizes that he could do a bunch of stuff, but Bakugo's the main player in it, whether he decides to go along with it and it goes into thing.
Yeah. And we talk about that a lot. It's like what Deku's like strongest asset is his analytical brain. It's not the fact that he is, the bearer of One for All right now or anything like that. It's the fact that he thinks about these things and thinks it through, and he basically plays chess of every situation like set out in front of him, because he always thinks multiple moves ahead and how each person's reaction to each move is going to be, which makes him, in my mind, the greatest hero.
That's super cool. And so he figures out his best way to do it was to have Kirishima be the key point when talking to Bakugo, because they go through kind of the slides about how Kirishima organically developed this friendship with Bakugo, whereas everybody else kind of just been around and not really played that major role. He's
a rough person to become close friends with, but yeah. But Kirishima, like that was weird. I don't know if the screen disappeared for you, but it did for me. But it's more like the fact that Kirishima hasn't just become friends with him. He kind of put himself on equal footing.
Yeah, like Bakugo sees him as a person that he's going to see, not just as extra in his life. So it's kind of... And then he tells him the plan, what's going on, and Ida in his glory is like, there's no risk to us, so I'm gonna do this. Uh-oh.
So I got booted out of the...
I see that.
But I'm back. But of course now I gotta go through the whole share screen again. Sorry, everybody. I think my internet is being really weird lately. There is a girl during the provisional license test whose quirk was having a high IQ, but this discussion isn't there yet. Yeah, we'll get to the provisional license. We're only a couple weeks away.
We're that close.
Yep, very close. Probably actually, we're 2 weeks away. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so the plan is, they're going to propel themselves off of a ramp that Todoroki makes of ice to get them nice and high where none of the other villains can get to them, and then have Kirishima yell out to Bakugo to have Bakugo fly up to meet them and them to propel him out forward. But also at the same time, Bakugo has this power to propel himself. It's almost like, can't he just do that on his own? But
yeah, I just think that as you notice later on too, the villains find a way to go and try to go after them, and I think Deku's trying to give them an opening, and maybe Bakugo's not thinking of that, about escaping, propelling out like that, because he's worried about everything else. Because
I think the main thing is he doesn't have that opening, whereas them breaking open the wall and making a giant ice slide takes everybody's attention off Bakugo for that split second. And that's really what was the most needed part. It wasn't the fact that they gave him a hand to get him going forward, further. It's that split second of distraction, which works both ways, because not only do they distract them to get those kids up, but once Bakugo launches out, then they're distracted focusing on them, that they don't pay attention to, who just created this ice slide and where we should find them, kind of thing, because everybody is able to get out of there unscathed. Yeah,
I think I flipped this.
But I like that, that we get this moment of showing that they became an equal relationship, which is great.
I like that he just says, "Come."
I know.
Literally, he's like, "What could you say?"
He's also probably flying at Mach 5 or something like that. So, what can you actually say?
Yeah, it was very to the point. And this whole point, I couldn't even capture one moment of it because it was just so explosive in the animation and everything like that. But this is I replayed this 4 times. This is one of my favorite moments of the entire show.
It's an amazing moment. Yeah. The how Studio Bones animates Bakugo, not only launching, because he's kind of just standing there normally, and then all of a sudden it's just I feel like he crouches down just a little bit, a little bit of compression, and there's this massive explosion. And it's just, him just flying with everything flapping in the wind, and just catches up with him perfectly. And then I love that he yells at Ida almost instantly.
That's his acknowledgement to Kirishima to say thank you, too.
Yep.
And Tamura's pissed that he could see Deku up there.
Yep. You show up everywhere.
Yeah,
I love it because it really plants the seeds for them to become each other's arch nemesis, right? Keeps running into Deku, and Deku keeps thwarting his plans, even though that is not Deku's intention. I mean, well, it kind of is, but not to consistently be a thorn in Tamura's side specifically. Mariana says a rocket ship. Bakugo is totally like that. I love it. And then Dan's I love that his plan is basically to create a human Rube Goldberg machine. It's so cerebral. It's perfect. I love that too. So
Christy's reminiscing because her Kirishima is her favorite, so it's our moment.
I love Kirishima as well. Oh, I love when Mount Lady just because the villains respond in kind by Magni, Big Sis Mag, basically attracting all of them to her to push them out really far and fast, away, and propel them going forward. And I thought he was going to, I know what it was. Okay, never mind. So he used the lizard. I forget the lizard's name. Spinner. He used a spinner as the base to push Mr. Compress out further. And then that lady just gets huge and acts as a human wall. I forget what she says. She calls it a move. She says it's
I don't remember I forget, but it and then she yells at stupid kids, hurry up or something as she's falling.
Yeah.
She gets knocked in the face.
I got to look up what her move's name is, but it's incredible. And Mariana says, "Why didn't she cover her face?" And I kind of like that she didn't, but at the same time, I don't think she had a chance, like even a second to. I think she was just trying to get as big up there and kind of then see where he was coming, and it just so happened that her head just collided with him at that split second.
Yeah. And did you catch that Magni can change, like the girls and boys have different fields, so they magnetize together. One's northern and one's southern.
I thought she could like choose anybody. I didn't think it was based on gender. I thought it was just
based on gender, because I realized that later when they get Toga, that's why Toga's everyone's attracted to her, because it's a girl, and so it's just pulling all the guys that way.
I thought it was just Toga because she happened to be standing directly in front of the warp.
It so happened that way, yeah. As I read it, I was like, why does that make any difference? And then I'm like, oh, that's why.
For that one scene.
yeah, it was just like something for the throw out there. Yeah, prioritize the rescue. And I think she says, "You stupid brats," as she falls.
Oh, okay. Dan says, yeah, they said females are south and males are north. So yeah, it's like something about their polarity.
Yeah, I just thought it was neat, and I was like, that's good for one scene.
Yep. Yeah.
And this again was a cool action scene, but you can't really see anything except for light shards hitting things.
Oh yeah, because this is Gran Torino dashing around, right?
Yeah.
Bouncing off of everybody. He's such a boss for such like a little dude.
He just knows way too much. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's great.
Mm-hmm. This was just great. So I think Ida had told him to match the speed or something like that, and Baku goes, "No, you match my speed." He's like screams at him from the back.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I love that he instantly starts basically yelling and complaining at Ida. Like, no, you match my speed, whatever.
And they're landing there, so Bakugo's like trying to stop them because they're going so fast at that point in time.
Yeah. No, this is that scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
And this is so we've seen at this point, All for One, he has the ability to force activate quirks. So he can use people's quirks even after they're knocked out. So like Big Sis Mag was knocked out, but he's like, nah, I need to get all these people out of the way and get them safe, kind of thing. So he force activates Big Sis Mag's quirk for Big Sis and gets them going. Okay, 1 second before we get back to this, but old peeps shrink. Do they go from being 5 foot tall to a foot tall, though? That's the question. Can they shrink that much? It is shocking. Because even when I was watching this earlier with Jazer, he had mentioned that even Deku's mom goes from being like a normal sized human to like a little potato woman, like tiny and like kind of looks like a penguin. But it's really funny. Like, they shrink a lot in this world. Maybe that's a side effect of quirks.
I don't know. Yeah. It makes you wonder if the nurse lady was super tall too.
Like Dan says, he went from 6 foot to 5'11".
Oh,
that's it. That 1 inch just looks like 4 feet size difference.
And I think at this point in time, Shimura is trying not to leave, and so this is All for One kind of thinking and reminiscing about their kind of relationship and what's going on for them and their mentor mentee kind of thing going on.
You get a lot of Tamura basically distraught over the fact that All for One is there fighting on his behalf and almost showing like this level of care for All for One, because he keeps flashing back to the moment where All for One picked him up off the street too, and kind of like brought him in. So, you get a little bit of insight into their relationship and how it might be more than meets the eye. It might just be more than, All for One using Tamura as like a chess piece, like a pawn in a sense.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, no. I mean, that will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
And we'll know more as the show goes on.
And I think, this is when he punched Gran Torino in the face. So I was like, wait, what is he saying sorry for? But that's what it was, because he like made him All for One portaled him and right in front, right before he punched.
Yep. It was a good move by All for One, and I feel terrible for All Might that he had to basically punch his mentor. He didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And I think this is the part where he starts talking about his mentor and his like successor before him, before All Might, and like he's basically ripping her a new one and everything, calling her weak and talking about her in like the worst way possible. And you wonder, like, is he really feel that way, or is he just trying to make All Might mad? You never know. He bounces back and forth between both.
I think it's a bit of both, for sure, because like I think, I don't think All for One has a lot of respect for any of the heroes. But I think that he also purposely knows that him bad mouthing Nina would drive All Might like insane, and that's kind of his purpose right now, because like he will unleash like a hard truth at All Might in this, I think, next episode actually, and it's like purposely just to get his reaction and to mess with his head and make him falter, because if he can get him off of his headspace, it'll kind of take the playing field and put it more on All for One side and give him like a little bit of an edge. Does that work out? We'll get to be seen.
And I think at this point he's hit him once really good. After this, I think he pulls Gran Torino out with one arm to like punch with the other.
Yeah.
So he has him like, which I found endearing in its own way.
I know. I love what because he's so tiny. Gran Torino's so tiny compared to All Might too.
So I got to keep track of you, and then we'll go from there. And I think at this point they just kind of talk about, is this when his origin pops up? I don't remember, but they start introducing.
This is the end of this episode, which they start going into the origin, which we get a little bit of a replay of at the beginning of next episode as well.
I think we just did kind of get a glance, and then he mentions her name.
Yep. His face is disgusting.
He's punched in even more. It's just it's like Clayface.
It kind of is, right?
And this is the start, I think, of the next episode.
I think you're right, actually. So
we'll leave it on the smush face.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. So favorite moment of that episode.
You have to ask.
I mean, it could be any moment. I don't know. Who knows?
The moment when Bakugo takes off and catches Kirishima's hand, literally best moment in the entire show for me.
No, okay. Well, you're insane for that, but I agree it's the best moment of this episode for sure.
Like literally, I think it's just personally like that moment for Bakugo is him just being part of the team finally too.
Yeah, there was a lot of good moments with Bakugo in this set of 3 episodes that it made them seem a little bit more like a close-knit group, and he felt more a part of it, even though he was the one captured, even though he, as we'll come to learn, like feels a little bit of responsibility for All Might retiring, like that kind of stuff. I don't know, there's some like a good camaraderie amongst all of the kids of 1A, and we're starting to see that finally become full.
Yeah.
Dan says that his favorite is Deku's plan working. He loved it and loved every time his crazy schemes saved the day. I love that too. It's great. What are you looking at on your phone back there?
It's not popping up on my screen. It just says private chat, but there's nothing there.
Oh, well, there should be. Okay, so behind the scenes stuff. Private chat should be on the right. At the very top should be comments. And comments is what the...
Magic. Okay. Turning
cool.
the phone off.
There you go. So now you can like look at the screen. You get everybody.
Yes.
So, Mariana says, all I see is Vader. I mean, Vader also has like, I remember the first time I saw Vader without his helmet, and like he looked like the Death Star with like a crater taken out of like the side of his head and whatnot. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? He looks like the moon. Yeah, so I could see that too.
Perfect.
For sure. But yeah.
Aaron's making fun of me.
Making fun of, oh yeah. Oh, hey, whatever helps. The show is very much not professional, so whatever.
Well, I didn't have it on the iPad, so it's like a new screen.
That's also true. This is Steph's new setup. Steph has an actual computer now to do this off of, which is great. Whole new screen.
I know. It's exciting.
Right. Let's get into episode 49, which I believe is titled, I forget. It was just Origin? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll get to it. There's a title screen card, I'm sure. I don't even know why I was going to say it. So.
So this was just explaining the origin, which I kind of liked, going back to seeing All Might as a child, like not a child. I think he's in middle school, but seeing the kind of similarities between him and Deku a little bit more, because he always states it, but you never actually get to see it until this point, I think.
Yeah.
Got to actually view it, and how he was wanting to be a hero just like Deku, like completely gung-ho, quirkless, and just wanting to strive for the top, and
wanted to establish the whole idea of a symbol of peace. Like, he goes into the whole idea of the fact that the reason why crime rates are so high is because there's no pillar for people to like look to always know that's out there that has their best interests at heart, and he feels like that's the big thing missing. And if he could do that, and he's going to work really hard to do it, even being quirkless. And this is clearly before the plan was set out for him to get One for All. And yeah. Oh,
there you go.
One for All. Okay. I thought it was, but I was like, no, am I just confusing that with the name of the title of like two episodes ago, which is All for One? Because it goes All for One, Symbol of Peace, One for All, and then End of the Beginnings, Beginning of the Ends, which I was going to name the title of this episode, but it was too long for that area up top. So I was like, nope, go on something shorter. Just go call it Symbol of Peace.
I thought this one was One for All too, so it made sense that it's going to be this one though.
Yeah.
And I think right now this is just the kids checking in, because Todoroki and Momo are out running off on somewhere else, and so they're just calling each other to make sure they're both safe. And then the world is kind of seeing up on the screen the fight that's going to happen between All Might and All for One.
Yep, everything is being broadcast live because there's helicopters flying overhead, recording the whole scene. I don't know if there's people on the ground. There must be, because the camera angles they have are on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he has to be that asshole. Like, look, you didn't rescue me. All right, just let's get us one thing straight. Like, you were there, and you just happened to be the best option at that time.
Yeah, he thought of it basically.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. And I think at this point in time, One for All is just ripping All Might apart, because All Might's at that point where he's starting to not be in full muscle form, and he's kind of starting to fade and remembering all this past, and he's getting punched in the face with his arch nemesis, and it's a lot for him at this point in time.
It's also, I think, because Nina Shimura says, and I think this replays multiple times over the course of this one episode. She's like, when you feel like, your back is up against the wall and you need that one last push, remember where you started. Remember your origin, because that will push you beyond your limits to get you to what you need to be, kind of thing. So he is constantly thinking back to that moment as he deflates in front of All for One.
Mm-hmm. And I think at this point in time, he starts talking about how she died. And so All Might finally just had enough of him talking at this point.
Yeah. This is why we get Gran Torino to reprimand him for falling for All for One's goading.
Because he gives him an opening and basically gets shot off into the distance, where Gran Torino has to come and save him again. So it's like play by play. Oh, and then they're just blowing up this poor place. So
yeah, like this whole city is gone. Pretty much. Countless knocked down.
He just keeps hearing that oh no, this is Gran Torino telling him to go beyond his limit now. That this is do or die, I think is like the line that he uses. And so that's what he was made to do. I did like that poor Aizawa's even sweating. Like, he's even worried about what's going on, and he seems like the most like laid back, kind of like, I'll take care of things.
Well, this is the first time. Is this when it's on TV that we see deflated All Might? So like, this is everybody's reaction on screen, and like they clearly know All Might's condition. It's known to the teachers of UA. So they're not surprised, but at the same time, they know that whoever he's fighting right now. I don't know if they know about All for One, but they know that this person is going toe to toe with him, and he is losing steam fast. So they're stressed. This is great based on, I mean, I think we could talk about just like ideas, but like Mariana's idea, like our plan has been thwarted could mean multiple different things if he happens to turn out to be nefarious. But yeah, because I'm like, yeah, as I watch it now, I'm watching it through the eyes colored by you and Mariana's discussion. So thank you. Oh, I don't know what they're talking about, but I like this.
The
I've
last
never
couple
heard
screens,
someone say unibrow, only brow.
Go back 2 screens.
2 screens? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Where's the other eyebrow? Interesting. There we go.
Yes.
Hey, join my only brow. Only $5.99.
All
right. Yep.
Sorry, it was the best one.
His name is Grape Juice. He drinks grape juice, and he has a poster. What?
It's 100% grape juice.
Yep, 100%. And I love that poster of Mount Lady in the background.
And I like the quote that showed up on the screen too. I was like, really?
Yep. Ridiculous.
Oh, Minetta.
That was like a split-second screen too when it popped up.
This is because you could see Ayama's mom. So
Yep.
I was like, oh, you can see your parents. And I yell at my kids when they put their feet on the couch like that too. It pisses me off.
Why? What's wrong with feet on the couch?
With your bare feet?
That's fine. Shoes are bad on the couch. Bare feet, yeah, why not?
They don't need to put them on.
Where else where are they supposed to go?
On the floor. Sit down straight.
Well, you don't lay down on your couch sometimes?
No. You can sit on the floor.
What if you want to like lay down and watch like a movie or something, just like laying on the couch? Where are your feet gonna go? They must dangle off the side.
There you go.
That's okay.
I know it's blasphemy. We'll talk about that anyway.
Okay, sure.
I did like this conversation because I think All Might didn't believe. I don't know if he didn't believe it or not, but I like that All for One is explaining that just as much as you hate me, I hate you.
I need to know what's going on here because everybody's saying like, "Hold on, what? Weird."
They're making fun of me now.
I agree with everybody in the comments. Like, put your feet on the couch. It's fine. All right, we can leave the couch talk alone. Sorry, I just it's we learn a little bit more about each other. I think each episode. So this is the groundbreaking knowledge that we learned this one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like a lot of things like on the furniture, so it's whatever.
I say feet go wherever they want. Put them on the coffee table, sure. Who cares?
Coffee table's fine. You can wipe that down. The couch is like harder to clean.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Okay, now you're not making any sense whatsoever. Okay, if you can't put your feet on the couch, why would you let them on the coffee table? Because you can wipe them down? Is that what you said?
It's easier to clean.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
There you go. The quote for the conversation.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I guess so. I don't hate anybody, though. This is great. I'm sorry. It's still going in the comments. I love it.
I know.
And I agree with Aaron. This a separate discussion needs to happen about this.
Sounds like I need an intervention more than anything.
Yeah. Anyway.
There we go.
What?
Nothing. Dog feet.
Yeah, my dog farts on the couch constantly. Constantly.
That's different.
Okay. Hang on a second. That's way worse. Farting is way worse.
Kids, they don't just like have bare bum though on there.
Still shit
You're
particles.
about animals versus like my animals are not allowed on the couch. No.
Oh man. No animals on the couch, says Mariana as well. No, my animals can go wherever they want, except the cat is not like allowed like on the counters in the kitchen. Other than that, have at it. I don't give a shit. Live your best life. Anyway. I killed your master, but took away the things I built up too, right?
Oh man, we're losing all this intensity now.
I know.
This is like supposed to be like super emotional. I cried during this part too.
I know you're laughing. I try to defend feet on the couch. The funny thing was this woman in the background, because right now she's just kind of like a woman to be saved or something like that. But later on, she starts like yelling at All Might, I think. And
encouraging him.
Encouraging him, but like he's getting encouragement from like everybody. And then, yeah, it's this one woman. I'm like, yeah, random woman's got it. Like, that's who he's going to listen to. Sure.
I think that he sees everyone equally too to be saved.
It's true.
To be true, like honest to him, it doesn't matter who it is. So, because he stopped this blast from hitting her, and that basically totaled him almost.
Yeah, but that's also his whole MO, right? Is saving people. Like, it doesn't matter what it costs; he'll save people. And do it with a smile, though his smile does drop. And I like that All For One mentions that too. He's like, oh, no smile on your face anymore.
I think he has he makes like the little face.
Yeah, he does it.
It's so gross.
It is. Yeah, this is what everybody's seeing.
Oh, this is when they finally see the deflated all the way. And Deku is, I think, the only person besides All Might that actually understands really what that means and everything that's happening.
Yeah. Well, we flash back to when All Might told him, he's like, people can't know that this is the real me kind of thing. He's like, people can't. And, they show his injury. They talk about his injury a little bit too. But yeah, it's he's worried what that's going to do, because at this point, everybody expects All Might to hopefully win this battle and then continue on. No one's expecting what the actual outcome of this battle is going to be,
It's just...
there's a lot of there's a lot of great close-ups of All Might's eyes. I also like the fact that All For One basically belittles his appearance, like by saying, you're all skin and bones, you got those sunken cheeks, sunken eyes, like you look like you're on the verge of death almost.
And he doesn't need to worry about his appearance at this point. And I think he says that out loud. He's like, I think you're missing the entire point of why I exist and what I'm doing and what's happening. He's like, it's not because of what I look like. It's because of what I do, what I stand for. And so this kind of exchange just shows you the ultimate evil versus ultimate good. It's they never will actually understand each other at any point. No.
They are the perfect pure opposites. I love that.
Oh, that's because he's saying his heart is full and knows what it wants, and you can't steal any of that. And then this is when All For One, I think, just drops this huge bomb. He's like, "Can your heart handle this?"
Yeah, this is the thing that he's been saving up this whole time. Tamura is his master's grandson, which, man, we learn what Nina Shimura did to her family to prevent pretty much exactly this. And All Might is distressed over that, because she gave up basically her life to prevent this, because that's what One For All meant to her. But yeah, it's not good.
No.
And this broke him. This really did get to All Might.
This is when he starts doing the happy smile. Where's your smile at? What's going on?
Yep.
Just making fun of him for being crushed. And he's like, you have to believe me because I would do something this bad.
Yep. He's also got gigantic hands.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, where's your smile? A sullen face.
I don't remember. Oh, so then they went flashback to this when she's talking about smiling all the time too, and she's being cutesy.
I would like to see more of their relationship. Her training Yoshinara would be great. Toshi. Yeah. I like the sketchiness of the eyes too. Some good fluid animation to kind of go along with the emotion that's being expressed here.
Yeah. I think it's holds out through this entire episode too. There's a lot of the lines and everything to express this utter frustration and distraught from him.
Yeah. This is when everybody's cheering All Might along. Pretty much like he just learned this, shocking news, and you can kind of see the fight being drained out of All Might at that moment that they need him to make one big final push, hopefully, or just like get something. Because at this point, it doesn't look like he's making any ground, right? Yeah, I agree.
Just to get them to like side by side wanting the same thing, you could show how All Might unites everybody that's different paths, different ways, just to have that. So yeah. And then like he goes into this rant, like I wish I could get the whole thing in one big quote, because it's like the best speech that in this show for the most part. And they powers up one arm to like just take him out.
But it's everything in that one arm. Or so you think, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Mineta deserves his own spin-off too.
Does he though? I mean, I'd rather see him as like a side character in another character spin-off, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not like the Mineta show. I don't need to see an entire show. Like, because that'd be the Cinemax version. Yeah, that's fine.
I really like the whole imagery of all the snow and the fire and stuff going on, about how he's trying to hold the spark and like keep it going, even though it's not there within him anymore. And like him remembering.
Naked All Might holding the fire though, personally, but hey, whatever helps sell the idea that
so I think that the One for All is like talking about it, and he's just like it's just like he's just belittling him this entire time. I don't remember how he flies though either, so it's just like up in the
he says that one of his powers is like flight suspension or something like that. So yeah, he can fly. He has so many powers, it's ridiculous. And we're going to see them all like in conjunction together.
Mm-hmm.
I love how much shit Endeavor gives him for looking the way he looks. Like he doesn't care about anything else. He's just like, why do you look like that?
Well, it's a shock to him. Like it just like anything else, like even in his mind, he looks at All Might a certain way. He sees All Might as that unbeatable presence that he's been fighting towards. And to know that somebody else beat him into that point, and when he gets there, it's just startling, especially for somebody who's so single-minded on a lot of things. And then I think this is like his turning point in his mind. He's like, I wasted what kind of time trying to be this, and you're not even going to be there to watch me beat you? It's a lot.
Yep, we'll see the ramifications of All Might stepping down in Endeavor's life for seasons to come, I think. But this is the start of it, and it's that realization that his desire to top One for All and give up everything, well, not One for All, to top All Might, to give up everything in pursuit of that dream, even like his own humanity in a sense, for what he ended up doing to produce Shoto. He's watched it all. Now he's watching it all crumble because he's never going to get that chance to get to number one the way he wanted to get to number one. And that kind of goes into the whole situation with what Bakugo was going through earlier on, and like him wanting to basically beat everybody handedly, so there's no question. But sometimes you got to realize, you got to account that not everything's going to go the way you foresee it, and maybe don't put all your eggs in that one basket, because you'll end up being captured by villains who think that they can easily change you to their side or something like that. Or you'll end up blowing up your training room, which we'll see in the next episode.
It's just crazy.
Also, it's great seeing NG with power down. Yeah.
This is where he started, basically, just before he became just Endeavor. Just crazy. I think it's like it was like a lot of like screens of him just getting angrier. And I remember like All Might even saying Endeavor like endearingly, like, it's okay. It's like, it's not going to be the end of the world for you.
Yep. Everything will be fine.
They go in there to save all the heroes and get them out of the way too. Because I think also All Might knows that all these bodies are like spread about too. He can't do too much at this point either.
Well, I think, this is exactly why he didn't do his big final move, pretty much, that we'll see. Because it makes like a giant tornado. and that would have killed all these poor people. Yeah, look how tall he is. He's so tall. Because like Nina is taller than All Might as a kid, I guess, in the scene. So then I mean, she's at least tall, and he looks like he's taller than her. It's ridiculous. He's like the size of his headed scarf now.
He's still got white hair, so I guess that's just the thing.
Maybe he always had white hair. I mean, Bakugo kind of looks like he has white hair.
Yeah. I just some more of the kids like getting distressed because of everything happening and freaking out. And they're just all yelling All Might at this point.
There's that giant arm with everything.
It's got like unicorn horns in it and everything. I was like, by the time you get hit by that, the spikes don't matter, but okay.
There's also like a lot of hands in that one hand. Like, you know, it's really funny how it's all kind of put together.
Yeah. Oh, and then he starts talking about Midoriya. And that's what he was trying to, like, at this time, One for All starts talking to it. Not One for All for One starts talking about it.
Thank God it doesn't seem like any of the footage that anybody is seeing has audio, because he does, like, straight out there announce, like, this is who you passed it to, isn't it? Yeah. Like that kid, that worthless kid who clearly was here against your wishes, so he doesn't listen, you know, like, you know, all you've done is for nothing.
Yeah.
And that is so not at all how All Might sees it. It's amazing.
I think he, at this point, realizes that he has to succeed and beat this guy because he has to reprimand Deku and become the better teacher and the better hero at that point in time, too. So,
yep. That really does push him through.
Mm-hmm.
There's that naked Toshi. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And there's just a bunch more pictures of them just fighting because it's like there's a lot of good art and a lot of good angles of just this fight.
It was it was great.
Oh,
great
this is when he passes it between from one arm to the other, which is like the coolest thing. I forgot that he did that.
Yep. He moves it around, like he has like just enough for basically one limb. And he constantly is moving around. Like I think he moves it to his legs at one point to kind of push him forward and then like back around again. It's great.
Just great. And this made me laugh because I'm like, this is a Deku move. Just like he like lift his other arm out there to flail and get broken while he uses his other one.
But when he powers it back up again, it becomes fine, which is great. So like I don't know if that's like a part of the powers or what, but like I guess, you know, if you can get it, I don't quite understand that. I don't know if it was meant to be understood, but it was interesting when that happened. I also like the symbolism of this.
The pass off. His arm's pretty messed up there anyways, though, too. It's all black and blue.
Yep. That's very Deku. Yep, that's what I said. His leg. He propels himself forward a little bit. He has an arm and leg. I love the moment when he does pass it, and you see All for One's giant super arm just like go right by his head. He's like narrowly dodging it. It was a very Goku-esque moment where he's just like skirting along the power.
I remember him saying I need to warp or something, like One for All was like freaking out. He's like, I need to warp. I need to leave now. Like he realizes he's lost.
Yeah. But instead he gets it right in the face. United States up smash.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's a sad moment. Farewell, One for All. Oh, we got a spinning ball on Steph. It might be me. My internet going out again? No, we're here. Okay. I had all things disappearing. You disappeared, and then the screen disappeared, and then yeah, cool.
And then he puts this is like when he slowly raises his arm and everything. And I think it's not Kamui Woods, it's the other guy, the string guy that says it. He's like, why is he like doing all this? Why does he keep going? He needs to stop and rest. He's not well. And then that's when Gran Torino says he's still working. Just leave him alone.
I love that. I love that he's still working alone. Like this is his job. This is who he is. He's a symbol of peace. Let him have this bowing out of a scene pretty much.
I like how he even gets him just enough so he can still stay in his big form just for that.
Yep. His little hair things looked very much like ears on a rabbit here.
Yeah, his little bunny ears. He's just sad. And they had to go dig out a bunch of people, I guess. And there's like they were talking about a bunch of casualties and all the buildings fell down. So.
Yep. Oh yeah, buildings are knocked down. Entire street blocks are gone.
Ed Shot. Thank you,
yep.
Mariana.
Yeah, I kept forgetting his name too.
Yeah, it was like the string guy.
Yeah, I know.
I love like these pictures. Like Deku's face is so like adorable and like doing his thing, but he's still got the necklace on from his gangster look. So it just like threw me off like this whole time. I'm like, I wish they would just show his face because it kind of makes him.
Oh. It does make him look like a I don't know. Yeah, a dirty gang member or something.
Yeah.
But this is when All Might is responding to a reporter who basically was like, "All Might, you reach for comment." He just instantly, like, without turning around, reaches his finger back and points at the screen. Something we will see over and over and over and over again for the series to come.
Yeah, along with a lot of other things.
Yep. Oh, Aaron says Deku lost his goatee at some point. It was right when the wind first kicks up, when All for One shows up. A lot of their costumes got knocked off, and that's when his goatee got knocked off.
I think Ida's mustache is still on, though.
Yeah, that's here, you know? It's not going to catch a lot of wind like this area would, I guess.
And I think at this point, too, like, they're cheering because they're believing that he's saying for the next villain to show up and do its thing, but he's realistically telling Deku that it's his time to move forward.
Yeah, Deku's idea of this, he broke it down and what it meant, and was really, really good. It made it very sad because, the people totally thought like he was issuing a, hey, anyone who wants to challenge me, I'm here, you're next, you know? Don't step up on this plate unless you're ready to, like, get a United States a smash in the face.
Yeah.
And that's such a sad look of the point. It's like drooped down.
It's just it's sad altogether. But again, in these last few episodes, and really Bakugo paying attention to everything going on and remembering stuff and really like looking, I think he's also realizing the same thing that Deku's realizing at this time.
I think he's realizing it, but he's also realizing the fact that there's something more that he kind of maybe had an idea of, an inkling, but this is more confirming that something exists, and you know, this will be a driving thing for him for the next couple episodes, or at least a lot of the rest of the season, actually. Yep, those words are
next one.
Yep, that's for Deku. Okay, so we will. Oops, I'm pushing the wrong buttons again. All right, so I did it again. Anyway, I'm off my game tonight.
It's okay.
Favorite moment?
This whole episode's one big moment, I think.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's just one big expression fight. If I had to pick one moment in the fight, it's going to be the ending when All Might finally puts everything together and realizes that he still has a purpose to live. Like, he's not going to like just give in, destroy the villain, and die. He wants to stay alive to teach Deku how to be the next All Might. So it's nice.
I really like that a lot as well. You kind of summed it up perfectly. It's like this one episode is really one moment stretched out for 30 minutes. It is a lot of other people's reaction to this one moment, but the moment is, All Might coming to that realization, that he has a lot still to live for, to teach. Like, he is still the symbol of peace to pass that knowledge on to the next person, who, in this moment is Deku. And also, though, it's like he got that big, final punch out there, which love that. The United States of Smash was such like a great moment. And there's a awesome statue of it that I think about daily that I'm like, I should probably buy that statue, but I really shouldn't because it's like $1,500. Yeah. But yeah. Dan says the United States of Smash gave me goosebumps first and second time I watched it. I'm like, yeah. It gave me goosebumps when I was watching it there, and I've seen it numerous times at this point. But And then also, what Mariana says, those last words are heavy. Yeah, there's a lot of emotional moments in this too.
Mm-hmm.
We even get that, like, if you didn't know it already, because he does refer to Shigaraki's real name in the previous episode before, but the whole attachment to how he fits into All Might's history and that knowledge, and yeah, it's rough. Oh, like this one. Or since he is a super US nerd. Yeah, I like the fact that, so All Might is as well. And that's how he writes All Might, because he studied here for a while in the United States. So a lot of his moves are just named after the sizes of the states or cities here in the United States. And of course, his biggest move is the entire country. I'm going to hit you with the entire country. I used to go for the second smallest state, Delaware. That's my normal just punch, but yeah. Because he does a great, I think he does the Oklahoma smash while they're in the bar, which is his cyclone move, where he like threw all of the villains, like, he gets all the no moves and he does that move and he throws them all out like the walls and they're like shooting out everywhere. Like, yeah, I love all of his moves. But so yeah, let's jump right back in. Got one more episode, and that's basically the aftermath, as well as a little some cool parent-teacher conferences.
Yes, which cool
I love.
I threw this in there. Yeah, I threw this in there because this intro song ends on this note, and it just really has a little more impact now that you know kind of what's going on going into this too. So
yeah, no, I saw that in here, and I was like, oh, is that a mistake? And I'm like, no, I know I should put it in there. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Took me a little while. And then we get back to the police, who are trying to figure out what they're going to do now too. They're talking about just the aftermath of the whole battle and capturing everything. And a lot of the police officers are like, well, we only had one casualty. And then I think it's the chief or the guy that's in charge of the police basically said, no, we traded the symbol of peace for this villain and a destroyed warehouse, which with no information. So there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, bunch of talking heads.
Yeah.
Sad seeing All Might like this. This is what we're used to seeing Deku like.
I know. It's like, it's an amazing, like, swap. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So he's talking about everything like that. And then Gran Torino and him are kind of leveling about everything going on. And then this is when you get a little bit more backstory on what's going on and why Tamura even exists. Is that she decided after her husband died, which I'm assuming he was probably a hero too at this point in time, and more than likely died in One for All killing him. We don't know.
Yeah.
So there could be something.
We might not ever know. Who knows?
No. But
this was so sad.
Yeah. This point, I was just like, that's probably the hardest decision that any mom could ever make, to like decide that the fate of the world and being your job and everybody else's safety is more important than this decision to be with your own child. Is just crazy.
Yep. Mariana says her husband was a reporter.
So, and then he, like, All Might's like, we have to protect him, we have to go save him, we have to go do the best that we can. And Gran Torino's like, no, the kid's made his choice. He's already kind of done what's going on. You're not looking at him as what he is. He's a villain, and that's what he's going to be. Yeah.
He's his whole, and this is exactly what All for One I think was hoping this whole time, right? Was like that him knowing this knowledge about tomorrow was going to color his impression and basically falter him, not only in the middle of that battle, but if he survived going forward, it's going to change him in the way how he looks at things, and it totally is starting to. And that's what Gran Torino is like, no, I'm looking at this shit objectively. He's still a villain, all right? You got to understand,
Yeah. And I think after that, they went back to like what everybody else is doing. And the kids had to drop Bakugo off at the police station. Just like, oh, it's a missing person. Here he is.
And Ida still has his mustache on.
Yeah.
He must have like super glued it on or something.
Probably Sharpie knowing Ida.
Possibly.
And then they all kind of go home after this because they were all out. I remember like they all lied to their parents basically that they're going to be at a friend's house, and they all went on this excursion in the middle of the night.
Which I think Shoto didn't even say anything. He's just, I got to go visit mom in the hospital. And he went straight from the hospital to then out, and then came back the next day.
Yeah, his poor sister's like freaking out, and you kind of find out later that Endeavor had just got home right before him, and he's like making a bunch of noise in the back, and then you find Temper Tantrum, kind of him dealing with his own whole emotions too.
You get a little brief moment too where you see the scene of Shoto remembering this training room and what happened to him last time he was in this training room. So I think, he, as distraught as he might have seeing his father, I bet there's a little bit of joy seeing that room being destroyed.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I think he also is getting a little bit of feeling about who his dad actually is and what's going on too. Because I'm assuming he doesn't know much more besides the guy beating him up to making him throw up to work harder. Like this is more humanizing him a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we said earlier, this is like the start of a new journey for Endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Deku returns home, pretty much goes straight to bed. His mom was worried terribly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then he wakes up to the phone ringing, and we find out that it's All Might. He goes straight to meet him, doesn't even stop for dinner, and his poor mom's just like, where are you going?
He doesn't even say anything. He's just like, I'll be back soon. I'll even want to come back. And as he I gotta say, I love it when they first see each other, even though I know what's about to happen. Like they do that like romantic scene on the beach where it looks like they're gonna like run to each other and hug. Mm-hmm. And yet instead he smacks Deku right inside the face. Love it.
Well, he's going to reprimand him. He's going to tell him he did bad because he shouldn't have been there, but he did good because he was there and he did help. And this is part he's trying to explain that he's not able to fight anymore or hold his form. So he was like punching as the big All Might and then stopped, and he's just like
all that blood just kind of come pouring out.
Yeah. And it's kind of like his own way of telling Deku, I'm not All Might anymore, but I'll still be here for you. So this was super, super cute.
Yeah, and he also is like, you don't listen. I told you not to be such a crybaby, and Deku was just like bawling.
No, well, it's super like he realizes that he's gonna still be there, even though he's not the same. But to Deku, it's everything.
He also so he reprimands him, but he also says, I'm also really proud of you because, this is the first time you were able to save somebody and you didn't get hurt. You came up with a good plan. You got in there. You actually helped me out. But like, I have to yell at you because, you went against what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to get involved at all, but you also did it the best way you possibly could, pretty much.
And this is the title card.
Oh yeah, end of the beginning of the end. Which is a great title because it really is like a changing of the seas, pretty much, of the MHA world. A symbol of peace less era.
Yeah, and I like this card changed.
Yeah, this one's crazy because when it first came up, his card changes. I think the next one is like a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Well. Yeah, because this one is like he's not muscular All Might; it's just him.
Yep. We get pretty much some of the casualties, I would call them, even though they're both alive, but taken out pretty much.
Yeah. I mean,
we also saw like Best Jeanist had like he got a blast in the middle of like his stomach. It went like straight through him. It looked like.
Yeah, and he was like super in trouble there for a little bit too. I like One for All like gave him like props too. It was like you're able to pull all those people out of the way and deal with how scared you were. Yeah. So it's crazy.
He gave a lot of props to anybody who was like of the numbered heroes. He was like, oh yeah, as expected of a number 4 hero.
Mm-hmm. So now they're going to ask students to stay in the dorm so they're safer. So they're not at home. They can watch and monitor and make sure they're not leaving and doing all that stuff. So the teachers have to go out, which I thought was kind of mean of the principal. He's like, here, guys, you haven't done enough sobbing and apologizing. Go ahead and go do some more. And so they have to go to each of the kids' parents and ask them if they want to be part of the dorm program.
They do send out, though, like All Might and Eraserhead, which Eraserhead was just on TV the day before. So yeah, like I don't know, I feel like he sent them out specifically because people would also have like a good reaction to them. Notice how Vlad isn't with them because I don't think people have a great reaction to Vlad. But
I think he went to go to the 1Bs, didn't he?
Probably. Oh yeah, you're right. He does. That's right. I forget it's not just 1A. And that's exactly what 1B is always lamenting. They're like, it's not all about 1A.
Yeah.
In my mind, it is. I also love the reaction between Jiro's parents. Like, Jiro's talking about, like, her dad, like, thinking that what All Might did was, like, the most rockin' thing he's ever seen.
Yeah. And, like he's yelling at him right now, and Jiro's like, you don't have to bow. My dad's just, like, pulling your leg, basically.
Yeah. I like that she's carrying these cups, and her earphone jacks are like opening the door, shutting the door. Like, it's really funny. She's like controlling them a lot.
Yeah, and I think that her dad does this like.
I know. My favorite is the mom in the background, like, yay!
He's just crying.
Chrissy says, "I love how awesome her parents were." Yeah, like me too. Honestly. Everybody's parents that we saw were awesome. Like Bakugo's parents made me laugh. Yeah, I just love everybody. I wish we got to see more.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many of the kids. It would have been nice to have an episode that was kind of like going through everybody. You got to see a lot more.
Yeah.
But, and this is Aizawa saying thank you because he realized that having All Might there might help them get the kids to come to the dorms too. Yeah. So he's offering to buy him a drink. So
to which All Might actually says he can't drink, which probably has to do with the fact that there was a giant hole in his stomach and he has no stomach anymore. I love the way she talks about Bakugo is incredible. She has his number. I love it.
Well, then she yells at him that you were weak enough to get captured in the first place. Just like gives him a worse complex about it.
Yep. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I like the dad in the back, like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Stop doing this right now.
Yeah. Also, he says like there's darkness in the family. It's not darkness. They're just very flamboyantly loud against each other. I don't know how else to quantify that.
Yeah. It's funny that gives like a roundness to how he is because of the way he acts and
totally. But she also like says too, like he was blessed with like a good quirk, really she says like a couple things. What?
Yeah, that he's really smart and things come easily for him. So there wasn't a lot of challenges for his character.
He got a lot of praise early on, and sometimes not for the best stuff, and it kind of colored the person he came to be. So she's saying it like this demeaning thing, and he's sitting right there. It's incredible.
That's what moms are supposed to do.
Yeah, true. And not look at his feet.
One person that can keep him in check, but then she praises Aizawa for realizing that he is a good kid at heart, and that she realizes that UA is the perfect school for him because they didn't just ignore him because he had a bad personality. They actually nurtured him, are going to take care of him, make him the best hero that he can be.
Yeah, and I love that. I think All Might says it here.
He's going to get him a drink.
Yeah, he's like, now I owe you a drink because they're each making each other's job easier than they thought it would be in certain instances, which is great. I love this scene just because he doesn't say anything. He has no expression. He just kind of comes out and he's just like, hey, All Might, what's Deku to you?
And I think also too, because Deku was like Aizawa's right there. And so All Might, even if he was going to say anything, he's not going to say it in front of Aizawa or anything else. Yeah. And he even says, I'm sorry, Baku. I can't really say much more at this time.
Well, he said that, he wouldn't tell her. I think in All Might's mind, he wouldn't tell Bakugo anything regardless. No. Like, it is not the fact that Bakugo knows, like, to us now through this rewatch, we've seen what happens. Like, that has nothing to do with All Might. All Might did not want anyone to know anything about the power of One for All outside of Deku himself at the end. But just like how All Might has 5 or 6 people that know, Deku will also have that same amount. Actually, probably more, because it seems like his secret's starting to slowly get out there. Also, Deku. Oh, I don't want to talk about stuff. Never mind. I was about to start talking about manga, and that would be bad.
I think this next slide is like doubled, because I think I added more later on to this, because they go to their house.
Oh,
because
yep.
Yeah, because this part was cute. That's the only way. Like, he said thank you for him being saved, and so it's like really short. I think it's like under his breath, and then he like walks away.
He walks away, but like, yeah, that's fine if you don't want to tell me.
Yeah, but I think he says thank you at least to him for saving him.
Yeah, and then this is where also Aizawa and All Might part ways, because they realize they have a lot to do, like a lot more kids to visit. That's not it at all. I have a feeling that All Might just wanted to do this one on his own, because of exactly what Bakugo is questioning him about. What is Deku to him?
Yeah.
Someone he meets on the beach at all hours of the night and hugs and tells him that he's going to be his dad, pretty much.
This is everything. And then I love the reactions that both of them are like both freaking out and nerding out that All Might's in the house. It's very familiar. It's adorable.
It's super adorable, because like you gotta, like, in All Might's, or not All Might's, in Deku's mom's point of view, this is the person that she has heard everything about from the moment Deku saw that YouTube video of like, he is not shut up about All Might, and All Might basically has become a part of their family without ever meeting All Might. And now that man is standing in the doorway and is about to do even more ridiculous things that they're like, oh my god, about. But it's like, it's incredible. I love when All Might sees Deku's room. It's the best.
He like makes like a smile, like it's okay. Like he realizes how big of a fanboy that he is.
Yep.
And I have to say, she had some balls in this episode too. The mom like put her foot down and really like mommed up, because again, the kid's like 14, 15 years old, and he's coming home beaten from every which way and direction. She has to say something, no matter who is in front of her.
Yeah, she even she points out, which I don't even know if All Might knows this at this point. I mean, I'm guessing Deku tells him everything, but she's like, yeah, if he injures his arms possibly just one more time, he'll never be able to use them again. Like, I feel like she says that like, did you know that? Did you? Because this is true. This is what my son is going through.
Yeah. Like, I think that like the whole time everyone's been telling him like, what is wrong with you? The kid keeps beating himself up. What are you doing? Like, what is like all this time? And I think she just had enough of it. She's like, if this is what going to UA means, he doesn't need to do it.
Yep.
He can go anywhere. He can be a hero if that's what it is. And she thanks him as a citizen, which I laughed. I was like, but as a parent, I hate you, basically, in her mind.
I like, though, that she takes a second to thank him as a citizen, because, like, yeah, I get it. You're a hero. You're the symbol piece. Like, thank you. You did a public service, and it was amazing what you did. But also, my child is involved in this, and that is more important to me than, I guess, the town of Camino Ward. But, yeah, still. They're talking about Bakugo's parents' hair. I look over to the chat, and they're still talking about hair.
This, I had to screen save. It's like the best thing ever.
This was also when we recognized, me and Jazer at least, how much Deku's mom shrunk, because she was like fully proportioned human being at this point in time, where she'll become her tiny self now. I love it. It's so cute. I love that. I have a pin of that little outfit of Deku jumping over there.
Yeah, it's like everything. It's like basically they could just show that screen and that's Deku in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's like adorable. I like this because she's going on about not wanting to support this decision, doesn't want him to go to UA, wants him to be happy. And Deku's realizing how much he's put on her, and he didn't want that either. And it's kind of like this like interaction between the two of them that they never have gotten to have yet.
Well, he even says, I think he says, like, this is the outcome when I don't take my mother's feelings into consideration, and like throughout all this stuff. And he's like, he fully admits that he kind of brought this on himself in a way by not taking her opinions into account.
Yeah. And she even says that she might not be strong enough to keep going down this path, that this is going to be what's going to happen, basically, in this instance, in this way. And, and then I think at this point, Deku runs off, like, and All Might thinks he's having a fit and heartbroken or something to that point of view. And Deku's really going to go grab the letter and show her that he is a hero and that he doesn't have to go to UA. He just wants to be a hero. And if it's okay with her, that he'll go anywhere.
Yeah, he'll go anywhere else. It doesn't matter.
And then All Might realizes how cool he is at that point in time.
Well, yeah, because he says, like, this must be heartbreaking for him to hear his mom say that. And then he comes back and tells them the story of Coda, shows them the note. Like, I saved this kid who hates heroes and quirks. And he said, thank you. Like, this is how I know this is the dream I was meant to be, like, the path I was meant to be on.
Which is saying a lot, because that's all his friends are there, everything. This is how strong that he is, just like, I'm going to do this no matter what. It felt great helping this little kid with his matter-of-fact letter that wasn't relieving.
Very matter-of-fact. I love this scene. Yeah. Go ahead.
And realized this part, I realized too, he should have came and asked her permission before he gave him his hair. But he's like, no, I did things out of order. I'm gonna have to thank, like, both him and Deku had no, like, inkling of, like, what the mom was going through basically this entire time, and now they're both having to apologize.
Yeah. I like that. I don't know how because they're also seeing, like, this legend, right? Like, this. I'm trying to think of, like, what a real world equivalent to this would be, because we don't have heroes. We don't have someone who's this selfless out there in the world. But it's like, if that person who literally is saving entire cities or the world almost in some instances bows in your presence, it was like, I should be thanking you, and, like, I apologize and all this other stuff. And, like, that's happening to them. And this is, it must be crazy for them. Their reactions are priceless.
And then he tells her, basically, hey, I want him to be the next All Might. And I couldn't even imagine that kind of, like, what? You want my broken kid who's going to basically bust his arms off to be the next All Might?
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like, he's super humble, he's super endearing, it's very sweet. And yeah, the fact that he's that transparent and tells her about, like, I want him to be the next symbol of peace, I believe he's the right person to succeed me, shows how much he believes in him. But, like, and every time I watch this, I think about it from a skeptical parent point of view, and I'm like, I wonder if I were in her position, if I'd be like, do you say that to all the kids that you teach, though? Like, I believe that they're the right person to replace me. But also at the same time, not all of them are, like, going to be on the floor bowing and apologizing and all this other stuff too. So I don't know. Yeah, I think they take All Might as word.
Yeah, but I also think she knows her son well enough to know all his great qualities and how he is and how he's been coming home and, like, really excited and, like, doing all this stuff and how much he, like, cares, and to have his hero there kneeling before her, basically kind of going through all the things she already knows about her own son. That's pretty awesome.
And watching your kid's dream take shape in front of your very eyes. His dream was to become the next All Might, to the point where all of his superhero names were All Might Jr. and Mighty All Might or things like that. And it's like, he is on the track to be the next All Might. All Might himself wants him on that track to be the next All Might. And so, like, you're watching your kid's dreams. And I think that's why, because at first it kind of seems like she does this real quick about face change, be like, well, I guess it's okay, you can let him go. But I think it is exactly like all of those years and years and years of Midoriya basically following every highlight of this man's life, trying to strive to become the best he can be, to somewhat do his best to follow him. And then watching that just come to fruition must be powerful for a parent, I guess.
Especially after holding him when he found out he was quirkless and didn't know what he was going to do. Like, she's just like, the ups and downs for this poor little lady is just, I mean, she went her whole life bringing small objects to her, and now her son is going to be the greatest superhero ever. So it's like, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's YouTube.
she's like remembering all these like moments between like the two of them and just all this stuff. And like All Might doesn't know any of this. This is all in Deku's past. The only person that knows this is his mother. So it's like crazy.
Yeah. I think this has a lot to do with it too, as Mariana says. It's he's showing them so much respect.
Oh, and then this part where he's like, I'm gonna give, even if I have to give my life to do so, for her to be like, wait, like Deku, like my kid adores you. You are his life. You're everything to him. You can't just give that away. You need to pick like as much pride in that as he does in you. And it's just like, she's like, he won't be happy if you die for him. That's just crazy. So it's funny that she knows him well enough to like talk to both of them and be like, you guys need to stop. Think about what you're doing and be better. It's crazy. Yeah.
This, I laugh every time this comes up because knowing what Deku goes through and how much more he'll continue to get beat up and stuff like that as the course of the show goes on. I mean, I guess he's gonna say that, but at the same time, like, he's definitely gonna make her worry. I mean, a mom's job is to worry, I think, too, though. So at least that's what my mom says. So
yeah, Devin calls me a smother mother.
What?
A smother mother is what I get called. So yeah, tell me about it.
You got it. Yeah. Please take care of my son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, this is the after credits scene, right? Yeah. Yep. So we go to Tartarus, where All for One is being kept.
Mm-hmm. And I like that he's like still in like his head, like reprimanding All Might, like his like this new thing for him, and he thinks that like All Might wanted death, and like he's like, oh, you decided that you're not going to do that, so you're just going to be there for your students and then watch even more pain unfold. And it's just, he's just so evil, it's ridiculous.
He does see One for All as being his child in a lot of ways. He kind of refers to it as that, and I think that's why he hated Nina Shimura so much, is because of he felt like she was a waste on that. And yet he hates All Might too because of how well he used it against him. Also that he used it against him. So yeah, I think he sees it as like he's kind of the doting father in a way, in a small way too. Yeah. So we're basically getting a little end screen, just kind of setting up for stuff to come later, because this is his whole thing is just trying to get Tamura to become the independent leader without All for One.
This is a great picture of him too.
Yeah, the last screen.
Yeah.
So that is it. Oh my god, I gotta stop doing that. I can't hit escape. It's not the right button. Yes.
We'll get it.
But yeah, Mariana says, can I just say, as prestigious as UA is, I'm surprised they weren't in the dorms already. The surprising to me was more that they had these dorms already set up. And then, yeah, knowing that they had them set up, why weren't they using them? So, yeah, I agree. Why not? But maybe it's just like a second year and third year thing. Maybe
that's what I was thinking. Maybe it's a next level. Like you have to train more intensely and then stay there. Where the first years are kind of just getting their feet wet.
So. Yep. But they had enough buildings for them because 1A got their own building, and I think 1B gets their own building. So I think they're all shaped like letters again too, which we'll see next week.
I know.
Yeah, Aaron says they built those dorms super fast, though. I think they had those already available. Although they might not have, because Cementos could just be like, oh, you need dorms? Sure.
Here's some dorms.
Boom, done. I mean, that's what happens when you have one guy whose quirk is literally to build walls by just touching the ground.
Yep.
He builds structures. That's what he does. Yeah. But okay, so favorite moment from this episode? This is a tough one, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot in this one.
A lot of those parent moments were really good, and it's like it's hard to kind of pick like a favorite, because I gotta say I love the Bakugo family dynamic. I think it's a great thing to watch. I would watch an entire show based on that. But also at the same time, it's like All Might, like we're getting a little bit more into Deku's mom and like how she feels, and then All Might becoming almost like a father figure in that family dynamic in a way. It's an interesting thing too. So yeah, it's hard for me to pick, but what do you think?
Mine's gonna be kind of off the wall, but I liked Gran Torino's talk with him in the beginning.
I think that was good too.
Yeah, it's kind of away from the whole kids and everything going on, and you get to see the adults have their own like side kind of real conversations, because it's All Might's fight that he's probably been fighting in his mind about a successor for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it just, Gran Torino's like, no, he's still teaching him. He's still basically like, you got to stop.
And it's a good thing he has Gran Torino there, because like I think without Gran Torino, both Deku wouldn't be where he is, already, because All Might is not really the best teacher. And All Might wouldn't be where he is because All Might was ready to give up a couple times, I think, without Gran Torino there to help. So super lucky that he was there. I might have to go the Baku family dynamic, because it was just, I love watching Bakugo mom beat up Bakugo, but also be like, she cares about him, obviously. So it was kind of funny to see.
It gives you kind of like a round to that character. It basically gives you like, it all kind of comes home to what's going on.
Yeah. And you learn, how much Bakugo basically is his mom. Because the dad seemed on the quiet side. Someone had to kind of be, right?
Yeah. I would think they would kind of level out together.
Oh, for sure. Well, you think so, but I don't know. Who really knows what happens in that house? When your son yells die at brushing your teeth, like dye cavities.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Dad says definitely the Bakugos.
It's my first episode not picking Bakugo, so
I know. I think that's great, though. I think it's good to kind of spread the love around a little bit.
I like Gran Torino quite a bit. I think his character is like probably top 5.
I think he's awesome. I really like him too. He's a big key character in the show. A lot of characters owe a lot to him. So, all right. Well, I think that will do it for this week. And then, Mariana says super bummed we didn't get to meet Denki's family. Yeah, actually, I would love to know if like maybe the dad is always in permanent yay form or something.
Yeah.
But I'd actually also like to meet Maneda's family, because that's gonna be a nightmare. What?
Tokoyami's, just to see all the difference, like.
Yep, because we've met Ochako's family. Have we met Momo's family? I feel like we met her mom.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
I feel like I could see them though, like what they would be like. Like they would be normal. We met Ida's family, so that was fine.
We met Ida's. We've met Shoto's, obviously. Which, I want to see that dynamic when they go to ask Endeavor about Shoto staying on campus. Like there would have been some great scenes, because like Aizawa and Endeavor, I want to see more of them together.
Yeah. I would think they wouldn't. I think that was probably one of the houses that he didn't go with All Might, because you can imagine Endeavor just slamming the door in his face. Like, I can't deal with you right now.
I feel like they should have written that in for that scene where they split up. Be like, you should go to the Todoroki's house. I'll do the Midoriya's, because I can't be seen at the Todoroki's house, because otherwise that house won't be standing afterwards.
No.
Or I wouldn't be standing because I don't have power.
No. It'd just be crazy. Especially if he's having a temper tantrum already.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. I bet actually they probably just get the okay from the sister.
The sister. Like, please leave. Here, yes, we'll sign it.
Yep. Yeah. Like, did they even ask, or did they just? I feel like they had to, right? They need the parents' sign off. So, the mom is in a mental health hospital, so I don't think she gets a say. The dad has to sign a paper, but who knows if like, what's the name of his sidekick? Flamin' Burnin'? Something Burnin'?
I don't know.
It's something like that. I bet like she just like snuck a piece of paper in front of him once. Like, you got to sign this form. It's a waiver. Don't worry about it. And he just signs it, and
Yeah.
Shoto out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Shoto just handed it to him and just told him to sign it, and he was just like does whatever he tells him to do.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of. I think that she's the guardian. So yeah, the sister was probably fine. She seemed to be the only one concerned that he didn't come home at night.
Yeah.
Although I don't think their paths crossed. I'll say maybe Endeavor saw him while they were out there, but I don't think they saw each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. We'll reconvene next week. We got we're learning a new style of fighting for some of the kids. We're going into super moves. Our boy is going to start using his feet a little bit more, and I'm excited for that because I love his shoot style. And then we start training for the provisional license exam. That's the next arc coming up. And then after that, we take that provisional license into practice, and that'll end the third season. So yeah, we're at the midway point now, which is crazy. I feel like we just got back to doing this and we're already at the midway point, but here we are. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. Happy New Year. Forgot that it was New Year 2 days ago. It's been a weird year. So New Year kind of just happened. So yeah. All right, guys, have a good night, and we'll see you next week.